3 months ago, I started Bloodborne and I pledged to defeat all 22 bosses in the game. Today I can finally say, pledge complete. Welcome back everybody to a HGA journal a Bloodborne journal where I document my entire journey through Bloodborne, hunting all 22 bosses and completing my pledge. Today, we're done. The last four bosses have fallen. Those include Orphan of Kos, Lawrence of the First Vicar, Gehrman, the First Hunter, and the Moon Presence. That's what was left on my list, and they're done. Oh my goodness, that was a lot harder than I was expecting. When I started Bloodborne, I sampled it in my 12 days of HG over the holiday break, and I got addicted to it in my first game session. I played 5 hours straight, it was hard to put down, and I cleared through the first 2 bosses easily. In fact, one boss that's often considered a wall, I got on my first try. So I got a little cocky with this pledge, and not really realizing how much harder the game would get, I pledged to kill everything in it. Now, if I take you back through my Soulsborne journey a little bit, when I tried Dark Souls, I went in it cautiously, thinking it would have the same effect on me as when I went into Monster Hunter. It did not, and in that pledge, I only pledged to go to the credits, so a few monsters, or a few bosses, one boss, has been left unkilled in that game, which is Manus. Man, I hate that thing. And then in Dark Souls 3, I figured, let's give it a chance, and I like Dark Souls 3 more, but again, I was a little bit cautious with my pledge, and I didn't kill everything in that game. I made it through most of the DLC, but I left a dragon and a lady alive in those games. So with Bloodborne, the fact that my first stream went so well, I said, screw it, let's go all in, let's kill everything. And I have to admit, there's a few times I was like, have I bitten more than I can chew here? Because there's no way I can beat these monsters. Why do I keep calling them monsters? So anyways, last time I finished Maria, which is a fantastic boss, and I was left with not really knowing where to go. There was a big clock tower, and I didn't know what was beyond that clock tower. So I discovered through that clock tower there's a fish village, and the fish village was quite comfortable to navigate up until we encountered a well. Good luck with that one, editor. And everybody was like, go in the well, go in the well. I was like, I'm pretty sure I should not go in the well if the whole chat is saying go in the well. But for the funnies and to entertain everyone, I was like, all right, let's go see what's in there. And I was promptly greeted to a big chunky shark, which I had encountered previously on the surface, and he ate me pretty quick. So I was like, screw it, I'm not doing the well. And they're like, oh, it's one of the best items, you got to do it. So I was like, okay, fine. I was in a challenge mood, so I was like, all right, let's just kill this thing. And I didn't know there were 2 at first. I thought there was 1. So I fought it, and I was doing good. It was at half health, and then the second one drops from the ceiling. I was like, oh no, why must there be 2? And this whole time I can hear the brain singing somewhere like the la la la. I'm like, oh, where's that coming from, and where is it gonna show up? Anyways, I killed both, and I got a weapon. I think it's Maria's weapon, which is pretty cool, but unfortunately I don't have the right stats for it, so I can't use it this playthrough. So that was my only achievement of that stream, and I'm covering 2 streams, by the way. Afterwards, I kept going through and exploring the village. It was quite comfortable, except for the times I died. And I finally encountered the Orphan of Kos, which is supposed to be one of the hardest bosses in this entire genre pre-Elden Ring. I can't comment on post-Elden Ring. So Orphan of Kos, in my first encounter, was not too crazy. I went at it cautiously, and I got the feel of it pretty quick, where it's okay, he punishes you hard if you go in the wrong place, but if you watch him, you can dodge through his attack forward, you can smack him once, maybe twice, and then you can pull away, and it's just a matter of doing that over and over. That said, that requires a lot of concentration, focus, and some level of luck, so I died a lot. After about an hour and a half of banging my head on that guy, I was like, screw this, is there anything else we can do? And people are like, oh, there's one more boss you could try called Lawrence the First Vicar, which it seems most people hate. So I'm like, all right, let's go do that. And I got quickly like just tossed aside by Lawrence. That was a fight I just could not feel and understand. And it screams as well. There's so much screaming in that fight. So I did a few rounds on him, and I just couldn't progress. I was like, I don't see it clicking here. This is not going to work. And so I retired after that stream, closed the stream. I was like, oh man, how is this ever How am I going to get through this? This is so hard. And I know I've said this so many times, but this is the pattern of Bloodborne or Dark Souls, either game. And so the following week I came back and I honestly had one of the most stressful weeks, like a really stressful week. I was not in a good mood. And coming to the stream, I was like, there's no way I am mentally in a place to take on such like stressful bosses. And so I kind of resigned myself of, you know what? Who cares? We're not gonna worry about making progress. I have a scheduled stream. I'm going to make some tea. I'm going to come and chill with people on chat, and we're just gonna have fun. We're just gonna have fun. I mean, we have fun all the time, but I took the let's make progress out of my mindset. And I'm like, I'm probably not gonna beat any of these bosses, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna enjoy my tea. I'm gonna enjoy my chat. And we're just gonna keep trying all night, and that's what I'm gonna do with my evening. And I think that mindset really helped. Because I went in there with, I went against Orphan of Kos right away, and I was having a good time. You know, we were trading blows. I was dying. He was laughing, screaming, but it was a good time, and I was actually enjoying the dance. The thing with Orphan is he's very punishing, but the dance is very fair, and it reminds me very much of the Nameless King, where if you mess up, you're pretty much dead. But if you dodge at the right time, that's where you get your blow, and it's kind of a repeat. So after a bit of time, I was like, I'm not feeling it still. So maybe I should just like grind some levels, get a little bit more damage so I can get to phase 2. So I was getting through phase 1 a few times, but I was just getting blown away by phase 2. His phase 2 I couldn't deal with. So I was like, I gotta get through phase 1 faster so I can practice more with phase 2. So I went and killed this big ogre a few times and grinded about 10 levels, which shot my attack up by like 100. It was a noticeable difference, nothing crazy, but I went back at about a level 100 to fight Orphan, and it just went well. Like I was getting into phase 2 more often. I learned about the backstab, which everybody was telling me that I should, you know, start doing, since I am using the sword of, oh, what's his name? Oh boy, Ludwig's sword. So I started realizing where his opening were from behind, so I could invasion sensation him. For those who don't know, that's when you shove the sword in the back end, and that created a big opening and took a big chunk of his health. So now I was getting into a rhythm of like, okay, I understand he's gonna throw like 4 or 5 moves at me. I know what they are. I know how to dodge them, so I know how to do that part. Now I know how to shave off a big chunk of health with the Bloodborne invasion sensation. And phase 2 was a matter of, okay, he's very fast, he's very aggressive. Let's learn the move. Let's dodge. And after a few rounds, I actually understood phase 2 faster than I understood phase 1. And I killed him. Just a matter of like putting it all together. Bim, bum, boom. I was like, oh my God, I didn't think I'd be making progress. I actually killed Orphan of Kos. And I was like, all right, well, let's go see if we can do this with Lawrence. Probably not, because everybody's like, oh, Lawrence is bullshit. I'm like, yeah, Lawrence is bullshit. I don't like him either. And I went in there with the sword. I tried the same strategy. I'm like, maybe I can get like an invasion sensation on him. I couldn't. I was like, all right, let's try lightning on him. It didn't work. Okay, let's try a new weapon. So I went out and got the sword that looks like a whip. And I was like, all right, time to pull out like my old Castlevania days. So anyways, I went in there and I started wailing on the, because, oh, I had a distance problem. I felt like I couldn't get close to him with my sword. So that's why I went with the whip. And I was also very curious to try this whip weapon. So I leveled it up so it was decent. I think I got up to like grade 8 or something, or grade 9. And I went at it and was barely making any damage on him. I was like, oh, this is not good. And I wasn't liking the moveset. It wasn't satisfying. So I abandoned that strategy. And I went back to my original cleaver, and I went in there. Chat was also saying that was a good weapon to go in. So I was like, all right, I don't think so. Like, it's very short range, but they're like, yeah, it's fast. You get in, cha-cha, you get out. So I went in, cha-cha, and I saw how much health it was doing, and it's because it's a beast. I was like, oh my goodness, this is way better than all the other weapons. And the speed actually did give me more maneuverability. So I'm like, all right, I think I can do this. And I just kind of like focused on get in, get your hits, get away, learn about his 3 swipes, and it all kind of came together again, the whole peace of mind, and I killed him, thus clearing the DLC. I was so excited. I was like, all right, now let's wrap up this pledge and go kill the last story bosses. At this point, I was pretty much convinced that if I could get rid of the 2 DLC bosses, the story bosses would fall easily, and that's kind of the general consensus around chat. So I went, finally faced off against German, and he punished me hard. I was like, this is a lot harder than I was expecting. What were you all saying? This boss is not easy. He's got like the huge scythe. He's fast, and then he's got multi-phases. So like as I was getting comfortable, he started shooting me. I was like, oh no, and then he like broke his sword into two. It was just fast and punishing. I was like, oh no, this is gonna take me a while. And it took me quite a few, like maybe a half a dozen attempts to take him down. He was a lot harder than I thought he would be. But with some perseverance and some trial and error, I finally made it through. He reminded me of the first fight, which with, I think Gascoigne was his name, but just dialed up a lot more, like a lot harder. So with him out of the way, I did get to unlock the special boss after him, which was the moon presence, because I ate all my umbilical cords. And so this thing comes out of the moon, which is like a big tentacle monster. I was like, oh, what the heck is this now? And it has the most bullshit move. And honestly, I beat it on my first try, and I don't know how. It looks at you with red eyes, and your whole health just goes, poof, no more health. I got lucky, and I had like 1 HP left, so I healed, recovered from that. I was not in the mindset of winning. I was like, there's no way. What the heck is this thing? It's aggressive. It moves fast. It has a lot of tentacles. It one-shots me with its eyes. But I just kept wailing on it. I'm like, no, I don't want to fight like the last boss again, not knowing that you don't have to fight it even if you fail. But I'm like, I don't want to fight it again. And I'm just like, boom, 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 dodge, trying my best. And somehow I made it. And the moon presence died. My pledge was complete, and I turned into a slug. I really don't understand the ending of this game. Why am I a slug? There's no point in any part of the game where I was like, oh yeah, my goal in life is to be a slug. But apparently people are telling me this form is like you're some like all-powerful being as a slug, and I'm dreaming because my doll is like petting me and saying like, keep dreaming, good hunter. It is the most messed up ending, but it's so appropriate for this game. I don't know these games. I don't know the lore. I don't know what's going on. And you can all say it's because I don't look enough into it, but come on. I'm sure most of us who have gone through these games end up with what the heck's going on? Because if we didn't, there wouldn't be so many videos on YouTube with like 1 million views of what is the lore of Bloodborne or Dark Souls. I'm not alone here. So overall, it's done. And through sheer luck, I think the way I worded my pledge allows me to not have to do a certain queen, which I'm aware exists, and that is potentially the hardest boss ever. So, because I pledged to do 22 bosses, and I killed 22. So I don't know why this queen, which is in the chalices, doesn't count as like a boss, but hey, she's on my pledge, and I got Elden Ring to go. So off we go to the next pledge. I'm going to be sharing what the Elden Ring pledge is going to be in a few weeks, as well as what the schedule is going to be. But it's going to be on Tuesdays. We're going to start that in April. Before that, I do want to double down and take a little break and do... I've never played the Devil May Cry series, and I've always been curious about it. So I'm going to pledge to play that franchise. But I'm only going to do the first game for now before I dive into Elden Ring. Otherwise, Bloodborne, this pledge made me second guess myself a lot of times, but man, it gave me so much confidence at the end of what I could actually do in video games and what my skills are and what my skills can be. And those rushes are well worth it. And I think that there's a metaphor there for life somewhere. I'm not going to like be the philosopher that says it. I guess my only tip is if you yourself have played Bloodborne and you haven't completed it, just keep trying. Don't give up. The real magic of these games is the more you play, the more you fight the bosses, the more your mind learns the pattern. And sometimes these things can take hours. And I also want to share that there's often a lot of discussions of which is harder, Monster Hunter or Dark Souls or Bloodborne. And a lot of people seem to say Monster Hunter. And I always think about that as I play these games, because I personally do feel that Dark Souls and Bloodborne is harder. However, I have to say that my walls in Monster Hunter took me longer to overcome. Like Arc-Tempered Velkhana took me 20 hours to fight, whereas my walls in Bloodborne and Dark Souls took me at most 2 to 3 hours. Now that said, if we measure it that way, I don't think it's fair, because a hunt in Monster Hunter takes 30 to 50 minutes. For the hard walls, whereas a fight in Bloodborne Dark Souls takes 2 to 5 minutes, and if you're really getting slapped around, less than that. So I think that they are very different beasts, and to a certain extent, Monster Hunter requires more stamina because you have to fight these like walls so much longer. But both are are difficult in their own way, and it's very hard, I think, to compare them side by side. Monster Hunter, you have a whole different type of set of tools and options to take out a boss. You do have those tools and options in Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but I do think that they are more limited in terms of your options compared to the other one. So that, with that said, I do enjoy these challenges. I am returning to older games that I had troubles with. I'm like, I wonder what my skill can do now. And it's really empowering to feel this progression as a gamer. So I'm looking forward to continuing to play these games and challenging myself. I don't want to turn this channel into a challenge channel because I just don't need that kind of stress in my life, but I do like the reasonable challenges. So I'll see you on the next video, on the next pledge. I look forward to sharing what that's going to be. So until next time, keep it classy.